Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarini. Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Namo Brahmana Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Te Namaha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय. नमाचार्य दास की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्णा एवरीवन.
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा
माताजी.
हरे कृष्णा एवरीवन. वेलकम. हरे कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा. Okay, let's start. Okay. Hare Krishna everyone. Welcome to Understand Gita in 18 days. So chapter 13, day 13 and chapter 13, Bhagavad nature, the enjoyer and consciousness. Kshetragna, Vibhaga Yoga. So in this, so first six chapter, we learned how do we attain bhakti, the devotion towards God by doing the karma, right? And then the next six chapters we learned by how directly by devotional service we can understand the Lord and how we can attain bhakti. So now from this 13th to 18th chapter, so Krishna is going to explain by how by knowledge we are going to attain bhakti. So but bhakti is the main essence. So through knowledge, how do we attain? So let's see in this chapter. So let's take obeisances of Sri Radha Govind, ISKCON Mangaluru deities, and Srila Prabhupada. So based on his teachings, we are conducting this course. So His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. So if bhakti is the culmination, why is jnana presented in the last six chapter? So in truth, the entire Bhagavad Gita is bhakti. The first six chapters discuss how to achieve bhakti through work. The last six describe how to achieve it through knowledge. And the middle six discuss bhakti itself. Also in the 12th chapter, Krishna explained how he personally delivers his devotees from birth and death, right? From the Mrityu Samsara Sagarat. Krishna says that those who are his devotees, so Krishna delivers from them from the ocean of miseries, right? He personally delivers. So the last six chapters provide the philosophical knowledge necessary to extricate oneself from the material world. So how to come out of the problems that we have in this material world. So Krishna explains in this chapters. Jnana has its use in assisting our detachment from Maya and our attachment to Krishna. So Prabhupada says that it is not like we become, without consciousness. We have to become super consciousness. It is not like we are detaching everything and we are just trying to control our senses. It is not possible. You only have to dovetail it, like we have to bring Krishna there. So instead of attaching to Maya, we have to attach to Krishna. So anyways, see, we are anyways servants. Either we have to choose, I want to be a servant of Maya, either I'm serving Maya, or I am serving Krishna. So anyways, we have to serve, because we are bound by three modes of nature. We have to either serve Maya, or we have to uh, 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 serve the Lord. Hence, when we use knowledge as a means to attain devotion, it becomes part of bhakti. Arjuna uvacha Prakritim purusham chaiva kshetram kshetragnam cha etadveditumicchami gnanam gneyam cha keshava. Shri Bhagavan uvacha idam shariram kaunteya kshetram nityabhidhiyate etadyo veti tam prahuhu kshetragnam iti tadvidaha. Arjuna said, "O my dear Krishna, I wish to know what Prakriti, nature, Purusha, the enjoyer, and the field and the knower of the field, and of knowledge and the object of knowledge, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this body, O son of Kunti, is called the field, and the one who knows this body is called the knower of the field." So actually, this whole chapter is going to deal with the field, that is our body, and the knower of the field. So there are two people. One is the soul and the super soul. So this chapter deals mainly with these two things. So we all know, like, our body is made up of 5 gross elements. So can somebody put in chat what are those 5 gross elements? What are the 5 gross elements that our body is made of?
earth, water,
Yes.
akasham, ether,
Yeah. Earth, water, ether, fire, air.
air.
Right? Yes. Yes. Thank you, Ridham Prabhu and Sulochana Mataji. Yes. So these are the 5 things. And then again, there are 3 subtle body. Subtle body is covered with mind, intelligence, and false ego. Right? So this is the soul. Soul is covered by gross body and the the subtle body, and then the gross body. So so there are totally 6 questions which Arjuna is asking here. We'll go into one by one. So basically, what we can understand is that the garden is different from the gardener. So right. So the soul is different from the body. So it is not, we usually we identify because of our ignorance and association with the material mode, right? We think that we are this body. Actually, we are different. The soul is different and the body is different. Just like a gardener, right? Gardener is different from the garden. So knowing the difference between matter and spirit. So this whole chapter deals with these two things. Kshetragnam chapi mam vidhi sarvakshetreshu bharata kshetragnayor gnanam yattajnanam matam mama. O scion of Bharata, you should understand that I am also the knower in all bodies, and to understand this body and its knower is called knowledge. That is my opinion. So these are the different stages, right? Stages of consciousness. So this is we all go through. So this is a awake stage, right? We are in when we are awake, the soul and the super soul both are active, but the soul will not be able to remember what happened the previous day. But the Paramatma, who is always observing even what we are doing in the consciousness stage, what are we doing, and he is awake in the consciousness stage. So then comes the uh, dream stage. So in the dream, what happens? The body is at rest. So here in the first stage, the body is also active, mind is active, soul is active, right? But hardly remembers, soul hardly remembers. And then here in the dream stage, what happens? Our body is at rest, but the mind is still active, right? There are so many things, whatever happened in consciousness stage, same thing sometimes comes in our dream, right? So the consciousness, so mind is still working there. So what happens many a times when we wake up in the morning, we don't feel that fresh because the mind is still not at rest. So it is a dreaming stage. And then comes the deep sleep stage. So in the deep sleep stage, I mean, we don't remember. We have a good sleep, so we the body is at rest, and the mind is at rest, and you don't remember what actually. I mean, morning we will feel very fresh in the deep sleep stage. And then there is a stage called Turia stage, which is actually that is awakened when the soul awakens, right? More like when we are chanting more and more, and then that God consciousness is awakened, then a person reach the Turiya stage. So in that stage, the soul is completely active, and then even it is connected to the Paramatma. So the soul is completely at a blissful stage. So that will take I mean it will come with a more when the we are associating with we are reading Bhagavad Gita and chanting and these things, that stage a person develops. That is the highest stage. So how we can understand? So there is a farmland. Okay, so this person, the farmer, is having this is his land. So he knows what he is growing, right? So but he will not be aware of the his neighbor land, right? What is grown there. So it is just like that. So Paramatma, the soul, knows what is happening in his body, right? What his body, but he cannot know what is happening in others bodies. Like I know what is happening in my body, I don't know what is happening in your body. Similarly, the soul does not know, but Paramatma, he is the same for everyone. He is the same Paramatma, so he knows what is happening in all the fields, just like the sunlight, right? It is falling on it falls on everywhere. Similarly, Paramatma, he knows what is happening in all the bodies. He's a knower of all bodies. So these are the six questions of Arjun, and Lord answers. So what is Prakriti? Is material nature, and Purusha, the enjoyer of Prakriti. So Kshetra is the body, that is Shariram. Kshetragna, observer in the body, soul, super soul, knower in all bodies. So the two Kshetragnas, one is the soul and the other is the super soul, that is Paramatma. Jnanam, or knowledge, understanding Kshetra and Kshetragna. So understanding the field and its activities, right? The owner of the field. So this is called as knowledge. And what is the goal of this knowledge? Why one should understand this knowledge? Why are we studying all this? So finally, to understand the Lord, Paramatma, who is there in our heart. That knowledge of the field of activities and of the knower of activities is described by various sages in various Vedic writings. It is especially presented in Vedanta Sutra with all reasoning as to cause and effect. So this we will see in a diagram. So this is called as 5 koshas: Annamaya kosha, Pranamaya kosha, Manomaya kosha, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. This is similar to what we studied in chapter 3, the levels of consciousness, similar to that. So in Annamaya kosha, the person is only interested in eating food and sleeping. That's all, right? He is not having any more interest. There are many people who are only interested in they want to fill their stomach. That is the main purpose of life. They think like you eat, you earn, you eat and sleep. That's all. So that means the person is just in Annamaya kosha. So when it comes to Pranamaya kosha, he wants to achieve something in life, right? But then still it is also like more or like animal only. Like even in the Annamaya, it is like more like animals also are there in this stage. But here it is like he's earning something he want to, I mean, save for his family and these things. But that is also again done by animals also. They also do save for their younger ones. And then is the Jnanamaya, that is Manomaya Kosha. Here the person develops some like interest, in the sense his own philosophy, not like anything related to spiritual, but he is interested in knowledge, in acquiring knowledge, but he has his own philosophies and thoughts. But when it comes to Vijnanamaya, then he starts questioning, who am I? Am I this body or am I this soul? So these type of questions starts coming when he comes to Vijnanamaya. So, and then he's trying to understand. So yeah, we are all like most of us, we are like here in this stage because we are trying to understand what is our purpose in the purpose of life, and what is this body, what is the soul, why what is the relationship with the Lord, and what is the goal, like why should I understand this, and what is the importance of this, and how do I come out of this whatever material miseries we have in this world and these things. So we are trying to understand, but then here implementing once, and we are trying to implement here, but then here the person has already reached that blissful stage, so he starts implementing here. So here we are understanding, so here he is implementing, he is directly engaging in the devotional service of the Lord, and he is in the bliss, right? So these are the stages. महाभूत्यानहङ्कारः बुद्धिरव्यक्तवेम एव च इन्द्रियाणि दशैकं च पञ्चचेन्द्रियगोचराः इच्छाद्वेषसुखं दुःखं सङ्गातश्चेतना धृतिः एतत् क्षेत्रं समासेन सविकारम् उदावृतम्. The five great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind, the five sense object, desire, hatred, happiness, distress, the aggregate, the life symptoms, and convictions. All these are considered in summary to be the field of activities. So there are totally 24 elements. So Krishna explains that, this also comes in Sankhya philosophy in detail, but in Bhagavad Gita, we don't have much in detail, but we can understand here. So the gross elements is the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then comes the knowledge acquiring senses. So input, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. And the working senses are voice or mouth, right? Legs, hands, evacuating organs, and reproductive organs. And then comes the three subtle elements, that is mind, intelligence, and false ego. And then pradhana. So this is called as unmanifested, where the three modes of nature comes. So the unmanifested three modes of nature, right? Unmanifested in the sense we won't understand unless a person speaks. You don't understand whether he's in a sattvic mode, or he's in a tamasic mode, or is in a rajasic mode. So it is in a unmanifested stage. So, and then the object of senses. So with the eyes, we can see the form, and with the ears, we can hear, and with the nose, we smell, and with the tongue, we taste, and with the hands, like we touch. So these are the object of senses. And then, so here, mind, what is the function of mind? It is to accept something and to reject something, right? So accepting and rejecting is the function of the mind. And what does the intelligence do? Intelligence has the function of discrimination. So it knows to discriminate. It has that power to discriminate what is right, what is good for me, and what is bad for me, right? This discrimination comes with the intelligence. So Krishna says, right, ददामि तेषां सततयुक्तानां भजतां प्रीतिपूर्वकं ददामि बुद्धियोगं तं येन मामुपयान्ति ते. So one who worships Krishna with devotion, he gives that intelligence, right? How to go to the Lord. So that intelligence is given by the Lord. That will come when one starts engaging oneself in the devotional service and rendering service to the Lord. And then the false ego. So false ego is nothing but I am identifying myself with my body, or whatever the qualification I have, or outside, right? Whatever if a person has studied very much, like he had many degrees, and he has a very good post and all that, so he identifies himself with that, right? And he expects others to respect him, and somebody has to salute him and all this. So these are all because of the bodily concept. So that is called, that comes because of the identification of oneself with the false ego. So this is called as with the body. So that is called as false ego. And then the pradhana, the three mode of nature. So why are we, what is the result of this interaction of these 24 elements? What happens? The person sometimes feels pleasure, sometimes in pain, and the desires. So when the senses are engaged in material, right? So we engage in something, we associate with people who are more into material platform, and then you get attracted towards it, right? The more and more you dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasto upajayate. We saw in chapter 2, right? So more and more we contact with the object of senses, we get attracted. So with that, the desire develops, and then the hatred also, right? So these are the results of the interaction of these 24 elements. So this is a chariot of the body. So you all know. So these five horses, right? They represent the five senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and this one form, right? The skin. So these are five senses, and then this represents the mind, and then the driver is the intelligence. The driver is the intelligence, and the passenger of this is the soul. So the body is the chariot, right? So now currently what happened, we are not concentrating on on our soul. So we have seen this story, right? In the chapter 2, where this old lady is concentrating, like she is very much busy in painting the cage, but she is forgetting to feed the bird, right? We are also doing that. What we are doing is we are more concentrating in the outer body, right? We are only fulfilling the wishes of the body, and we are taking it very nice care of it, but we are forgetting that there is something called soul inside us, and we are not feeding at all. That is the reason we are always unhappy, right? Why are people always unhappy? Because they don't know whom to be feeded. We are doing everything whatever mind and body is asking, or whatever senses is asking, and we are trying to fulfill it, and but it is never ending. It will never, one thing is satisfied, it will demand for something else, so there is no end for it. But we are forgetting the soul. So what is the food for soul? Is I'll unmute you all, you have to tell now. So what is the food for soul? Can we all
Chanting.
Yeah, can we all chant together now? Hare
Yes.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
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 Hare
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Hare.
Rama,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Hare,
Krishna.
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Thank
Rama,
you.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So this is a food for soul. So we have to start giving the food for our soul, right? So start with your bead bag, start with your japamala. So the consciousness, how does a consciousness, the same consciousness, right? That the knife in the hand of a thief can do harm to others, but when the knife in the hand of a doctor, it can save a life, right? So when our consciousness is right, so when our consciousness purified, then we engage in good activities. But then if our consciousness is not right, then we engage in the sinful activities. So this is shloka from 8 to 12. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, even mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self realization, and philosophical research for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be is ignorance. So, the Lord explains here what is a real knowledge. So, in this shloka 8 to 12, very important. So, here Krishna is explaining, we'll go into detail one by one. So here Prabhupada explains, gives us clarity because for everything, Prabhupada is giving here explanation to understand, make it easy for us to understand what exactly is the Lord trying to convey us. See, it is anybody, if somebody knows Sanskrit, he can just give the word to word meaning, right? But it is not just like that. We need to understand into depth what is the message, right? So that is why we need a help of a spiritual master. So here humility, not to be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored. So somebody has to right expecting like my relations have to respect me. I mean anything like if somebody has to invite you, they have to invite me for some function. I mean otherwise I will not go, right? So that that is like expecting to be honored. So that should not be there, not to be anxious to have satisfaction of being honored. And then pridelessness, um, understanding you are not the body and thus honor and dishonor the same. So when you don't associate with yourself, with your body, then what happens, that humility automatically comes. So the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says trunadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna, means like a grass, be humble like a grass. So how much ever somebody stamps on a grass, it's again stand up, right? So humble like a grass and tolerant like a tree, right? So here we have tolerance here. We practice to bear insult and dishonor from others. And here non-violence, unless one elevates people to spiritual knowledge, one is practicing violence. So there are three kind of violence. One is the physical violence, which is most of us think that when we get hurt to the body, right? It is we know about the physical violence and mental violence, but there is also a spiritual violence which Krishna is speaking here. So many of us have experienced physical and mental violence. Mental violence means somebody is hurting us, we get pain. But what is spiritual violence? If we are not feeding the soul, right? And we are not spiritually advancing, then that is we are doing violence to the self. And also, if somebody is stopping someone from growing, like somebody in a home, somebody is practicing spirituality and the other person is not cooperating, then that person is doing a spiritual violence to the other person. So, and also Prabhupada says, if we are not exchanging this real knowledge to our known ones or to somebody, then that is also a like violence. We are not giving a real knowledge to the other person. So then tolerance, we practice to bear insult and dishonor from others. So this is Trunadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Seshna. Simplicity, so straightforward that you can disclose the truth even to the enemy. So always in words, in mind and action, one has to be same. It's not like thinking something in mind and talking something, right? It should not be like that. So that is simplicity. Accepting a spiritual master. So this is essential. So anyone, even in the materialistic platform, if we have to, we need somebody, right? I mean, even in the cricket or any sports we take, some coach is there. Always some coach is there for somebody to advance. So obviously in spirituality also we need to have a spiritual master. So we have Prabhupada. So cleanliness. So there are two types of cleanliness. One is the external and the other is internal. So external means keeping the body clean by taking bath, right? 2 times a day, and then chanting. Internal cleaning is so cheto darpana marjan, right? Cleaning our heart. So it is from so many lives, it has been accumulated so much of that. So we have to clean by chanting. Steadiness, styrium, determined to make progress in spiritual life. So that, like, once if I take a commitment that I will do certain round, like for example, you all decide that I will do from now. So now I understand this knowledge. Now it is time for application. So you start with one round of chanting. So you have that commitment, that steadiness. So to continue that for all my life. So it is not like I'll do just for 18 days and then I leave it. No, you are now, anyways, many of you are joining for the chanting session, right? Please do continue after this course, because there won't be people to tell you often like do this. You have to take your own this one, right? Once you understand, you have to make a firm decision that yes, I want to progress in spiritual life and I need to do this. Self control, reject anything unfavorable to spiritual advancement or control the senses. So anything unfavorable to our unnecessary engagement in materialistic things or sense enjoyment, which leads to sense enjoyment, that we need to avoid. Self control, renunciation of sense objects. So not to cater to unnecessary demand gratified only to keep body fit for devotional service. So unnecessarily, one should not spend too much on the things which is not really necessary for our life, right? So there's no end for our expectations and demands of our body, right? So that has to be minimum. So only so much. So not too much of, I mean, a little bit of renunciation is required towards the sense objects. And absence of false ego. Reject I am this body or mind, accept that I am Krishna's servant. So this is our true ego. Actually, ego cannot be, we all have a ego. With this, when we have the spiritual body, we have the true ego. And what is the true ego? We are a servant of the Lord. So, but we are now currently we are in a bodily concept. So we are in a false ego. So, but true ego is to understand that I am Krishna's servant. Perception of evil, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Regularly hear about these from the proper source. Become distinguished with material life. So more and more we hear Bhagavad Gita, and so little bit of that detachment towards the material things will develop, because we understand the real goal of life, and then slowly a little bit detachment will come. So detachment, be ready to sacrifice everything for Krishna. No entanglement with wife and children. And also, Prabhupada says that if somebody is Krishna consciousness, if you can make everyone in the family Krishna consciousness, then it will be a happy family, and it is like a Vaikunta, right? There is no need to have a detachment. Here it says no entanglement family. But if you should practice it, if you do it in a Krishna conscious way, but renounce is unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. So uh, we have to try I mean, if we have to try to make it the family as a Krishna consciousness. If somebody has a small kids, you practice and the children also will follow. So then it is a happy family. So and also anything, there's no need like one has to go to forest and maybe I mean, be away from family and practice Krishna consciousness, right? You can do it in the family life. Even mindedness, not elated or distressed at material gain or loss by performing unbreakable devotional service. So when one is fixed in devotional service, whatever it comes, he thinks that that is mercy of Krishna, be it bad also, be it good, whatever. Even if bad happens, he thinks, okay, Krishna has a better plan for me, that is why he's giving me this. So he starts thinking in that way. So that becomes even mindedness. Unalloyed devotional service, engaging oneself in the nine process of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So these are the nine process of bhakti. Starts with the Shravanam. Shravanam, Kirtanam, yesterday we saw. The three most important things in the nine process of bhakti are the first three: Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam. So always engage your mind in hearing about the Lord, right? I mean, um, smar, Shravanam, sorry, Shravanam, hearing, and then hearing, Kirtanam means speaking about the Lord, or reading, or chanting. chanting and doing kirtan, all this comes in kirtanam, and Vishnu smaranam, always in the remembering the Lord by performing various devotional activities and serving him so that we are connected to him. Aspiring to live in solitary place, not desiring to mix with. So here Prabhupada gives, so for Kali Yuga, we cannot be, right? We cannot go to a solitary place and do it. It's not possible for us. So what does it mean? Not desiring to mix with materialistic people, live in the association of devotees. So because the Maya is very strong, when you are associating with materialistic people, they will also pull you there to the, I mean, to again, I mean, you may now become serious and you may start doing devotional service, but then when you associate more with the materialistic minded people, again you will be attracted because the Maya is so strong, because now it is the very tender stage of bhakti, you are just started. So it is good if we are in the association of devotees. Detachment from general mass of people as above. Accepting the importance of self realization. Give up unnecessary sporting, cinema going, non devotional social activities, and avoid wasting time, right? So what will happen again when we go to the cinemas? So these are all mostly based on sense gratification. And what happens? Your consciousness will change, right? Consciousness, it is important for us to keep our consciousness pure. But then by engaging too much in these things, what will happen? And wasting time, like speaking unnecessary things, I'm speaking about others and all this, our consciousness will go down. Philosophical research, rejection of useless research and philosophical topics. So only the philosophy, what Krishna says, that these are the knowledge, other than that is said to be uh, not knowledge. So I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will taste the eternal Brahman, the spirit, beginless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So when somebody reads the Brahma Bhuta, right? Brahma Bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samo sarveshu bhuteshu madbhakti labate param. So when somebody reaches that Brahma Bhuta stage, he understands that he is beyond this cause and effect. So Krishna is saying that this knowledge, once you understand, you are going to taste that eternal Brahman. And who is a subordinate? This is important. Krishna says that he is subordinate. So we are always subordinate. The soul is subordinate to the super soul, the Paramatma. Sarvendriya gunabhasam, sarvendriya vivarjitam, asaktam sarvabhruchaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktrucha. The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is maintainer of all living beings. He transcends the mode of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all modes of nature. So he is the original source of all senses. So Krishna, yet he is without senses. So he is the one, because of him only we have got this material body, right? And not only us, the 84 lakh species, everybody is made possible because the Lord has given this material body. And but Krishna, he himself does not have this material body. His body is spiritual. Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo meti tatvatah tektva jivam punarjanmam naiti ma meti. So Arjuna, so Krishna, he says his body and his, I mean his janma and karma, his birth and his karma, both are transcendental. So Lord, his body is also transcendental. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti आनंद चिन्मय सदुज्वल विग्रहस्य गोविंदमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि अंगानि यस्य सकलेन्द्रिय वृत्तिमन्ति. So he does not have differentiation in his mind, I mean his body, mind and intelligence, everything, right? Everything is same for the Lord. There is no difference between his body and his anga, and one organ can perform function of the other organs. So he is unattached. Though he has created this material world, he is not attached to this, right? It gets annihilated and again created in every day of Brahma. Although he is maintainer of all beings, so though he is the maintainer of all the living beings, he is not attached. He is not attached to our karmas, right? Here he does not. He is only like foreseer, like he just sees and he just grants. So he transcends the three modes. We are in the three modes, but God transcends the above the three modes. He's transcendental to three modes of nature. Because Krishna says that Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Prapadya Mameva ye prapadyante Maya metam tarantite. Devi, I mean the Devi to come above the three modes is very difficult, but someone who surrenders to me, easily they can transcend the three modes. So he is the master of all the modes. So that is why Lord is called as Rishikesha, right? He's the master of all senses and mind and all modes. He's the because the Devi works under his direction. Srishti Sthiti Sadhana Shakti Rekha Chayeva Yasya Bhuvanani Viparti Durga. So as his shadow she goes. The supreme truth exists both internally and externally in the moving uh, and non-moving. He is beyond the power of material sense to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all living beings, the moving and non-moving. Because he is subtle, he is beyond the power of material senses to see or to know. Although far, far away, he is also near to all. So this is very difficult to understand, right? How is this possible for the Lord to be outside and inside? So we can understand with this example when Parikshit Maharaj was in his mother's womb, Mother Uttara, right? So that time, this Ashwatthama, he shoots the Brahmastra towards her womb because that was his. He wanted to kill even the lost progeny of the dynasty. So when Ashwatthama does that, so Lord has to come and protect him. So Krishna goes inside the womb of Devaki and he stops the Brahmastra. But at the same time, the Lord was standing outside also. So how is this possible? So that is the inconceivable power of the Lord. This is called as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu calls this as Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. So this is the philosophy which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has found, which is simultaneously one and different. So Lord, it is not complete Dvaita, but it is Achintya Beda Abeda. So it is the Lord is simultaneously one and different. Okay. So this is not conceivable for us. Krishna is himself telling here, it is beyond the power of material sense because we all have only material sense. So for us, it is very difficult to understand. It is beyond our power. So how do we understand? So that is why we have to depend on our Shastras, Shabda Praman, right? So although far, far away, he is near to all. So in Ishopanishad, there is a shloka which says, Tad ejati tad tannejati tad dure tad vantike tad antarasya sarvasya tadu sarvasyasya bahyataha. That means he is near and yet he is far. So tadejati tannejati tad dure tad vantike. So so it says that Krishna is in atom also, but then he is there in Goloka. He's always eternally, he's available in the spiritual world all the time. But how do we understand this? We only have to understand through Shastras because it is not possible for us. We are like ant, right, in front of Lord. We can't understand otherwise. With our mental speculation, it is not possible to understand. He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart. So the Lord, so when there is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jaha Krishna hai, waha Maya ka na adhikar. So it is like when there is, wherever there is Lord, there is no darkness. So Prabhupada also says, when you face the light, when you face the sun, there is no shadow. But when you put your back to the sun, there is a shadow. Exactly like that. When we are turning our face towards, we are towards Krishna, we are, there is no, the Maya cannot attack her. But when we put our face back, right, we turn our back towards Krishna, then there is no light. So Krishna is the light. So he is situated in everyone's heart. So anyone can tell what is the shloka which says that Krishna is in the heart? I'll just unmute you all. Anybody can tell. Yes, I have unmuted. Anyone can say what is the shloka?
ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां हृदयेषु अधुना तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice.
Other slokas are also there.
Yeah, there is one more shloka. Yes, Mataji, you can tell.
I don't remember.
Pancha Mahabhutas. Okay.
No.
Okay. I think not that one. So something is coming. I'm also not getting that. Anybody knows? You can put in chat. I'm not getting that shloka. Yeah, he says that I am in the heart of everyone. I think 2-3 places the Lord says that he is situated in the heart. Iti kshetram tata jnanam neyam choktam samasatah madbhakta etad vignaya madbhavayopapadyate. Thus, the field of activities, the body, the knowledge and the knowable have been summarily described by me. Only my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. So now Krishna is saying that this knowledge can be understood only by my devotees. Thank you, Srinivas Prabhu. Sarvasya chaham hृदि sannivishto matta smriti gnanamapohanam cha vedaischa sarvairahameva vedyo vedanta krit veda iham something. Last line I'm forgetting. Yes, thank you. So that is the other shloka. So here Krishna is telling that only by my devotees can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. So when one engage oneself in devotional service, right? So how do we understand? How do we become a devotee? By chanting, by taking the Lord's name, we can become a devotee. So uh, uh, here we can see two birds, right? There are two birds. So one is the soul. So this is the soul and this is the super soul. So what does the soul do? So it is tasting different fruits, right? Like it is sometimes it eats sweet. I mean the fruit is sweet. Sometimes it tastes the bitter sweet. So similarly, sometimes we see, I mean we get pleasure in life, and sometimes there is distress in life, right? Or different things that we come in contact with life. Sometimes it is painful, sometimes it is joyful. So we keep on tasting different fruits. So our desires never, like we have some desire, we go behind it, and sometimes it is good, sometimes it is bad. So but then the Lord is simply seeing, what is he doing? He's watching and he's granting us sometimes. But then why is he seeing that? He's waiting to take to him. Like when are we done with our this, like eating fruits, right? So when are we done? Lord is waiting so that he can take us with him. So this is the Atma and Paramatma. So these are the two birds. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidyanadi ubhavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Material nature and the living entity should be understood to be beginless. Their transformation and modes of matter are product of material nature. So how are we getting this material body? Because of our desire. So I want to enjoy, I mean whatever desire we understood in chapter 8, like whatever the consciousness the person has when he leaves the body, the same body that person is going to attain, right? If we are developing, if our consciousness is on a spiritual level, you are associating with Bhagavad Gita, you are chanting, so there is a chance that you get a spiritual body. But then you are associating more with the materialistic people, or you are engaging in the fruitive activities, then again you will get a life of human body, right? But then we are doing like a lower consciousness. We are engaging in sinful activities and right, so breaking the five regulative principles and these things. So then what happens? Or then a lower consciousness people, if we are associating with, then there is a chance that we may go down to animal life. So there is no guarantee that I have to get a human life next again. So there is no guarantee as such. So we can go back to lower nature. So this is a, it is said that the transformations and the mode of matter are product of material nature. So but the living entity should be, material nature and living entities should be understood to be beginless. So there is nowhere mentioned in Shastras that when the soul was born, right? So it is also eternal. It's always existed, just like Paramatma, like God. So the soul also always existed. So it has to be understood to be beginless. Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate purusha sukha dukkhana bhoktrutve hetu ruchyate. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of various suffering and enjoyment in this world. So, living entity, we only have a choice to desire, and based on our desire, we either suffer or we enjoy. But we don't have any uh, I mean, control on the causes and effects, right? Whatever happens or whatever going to happen, these things we don't have. That is the material nature. She does everything. But we only have, like, the soul can desire, and based on its desire, it can either be happy. If your if your desires are purified, then you'll be happy. And if it is sinful desire, then we are going to suffer. So suffers and enjoyment. So this suffering in the world is because everyone want to enjoy independent of the Lord. So Krishna wants us to enjoy with him, right? Because we are parts and parcel of the Lord. So uh, uh, what is that shloka? Mama ivamsha jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana. So you are all part and parcel of me. So Krishna says that uh, 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 we are struggling in this material world with this five senses, and which includes the mind, right? So Krishna knows that we are suffering in this world. So he wants us to uh, 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 I mean, to come back to the Lord. So he want to enjoy with us. I mean, Krishna wants us to come to him. So this, okay. Can anyone explain what is happening here? Okay, you can just, I'm just unmuting. Anyone can speak. So what is this person? What is the situation of this person, right? What is he doing? So his tongue is outside and he's hanging on a wall, right? What will happen if he falls?
Snake will cut
Yeah, the snakes are going to bite him, right?
bite
And
him.
even, yeah, so what is it? And the other side, everywhere we can see, and here it is said as the day and night which is cutting, right? So the man's life every day, like we don't know when the death is coming. So every day they are cutting the branch, so it is like the life is going, right?
He's so
So
engrossed in material world.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Krishna
For
can
So
say
food,
this.
just for that little taste.
yeah, and here the different problems. So what does it represent? So many problems, so many difficulties we have around our life, and we are like waiting for this one drop of honey, right? There is a honey which is dropping here, and he's just wanted to have that. I want something. So we are never done with our desires. Krishna is waiting. He's giving us hand. Come to me. And he's coming. Especially he gave this Bhagavad Gita knowledge because for us, right? To understand what is the goal of human life, what is the purpose. But we don't want to understand. The people like, right? We don't want to understand. And we are like worried more of the other things, what is bothering us in life. So this is this person actually is, we have to see ourselves here. So Lord is always ready whenever, like the two birds, he is just waiting when this person is going to turn towards me so that I can help him. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshan Darshanam, right? Birth, old age. So this is death. This is old age, and then disease. So these are the real problems of life, but no one is thinking about the real problems. So what are we more concentrated on? So nobody wants problem, nobody can avoid problems. It comes on its own. Similarly, happiness will also come on its own. So these are the real problems. Temporary problems, right? These are food, shelter, and clothing. So these are the temporary. So these are all bodily needs. Yes, this is required, but then should we have to all our life, all our energy should we give here just to satisfy these things? We have to think about this. Should we only do these things like, because these are animals also do this. They need shelter. They all, I mean, they don't need at least clothing. Other than that, I think water, food, everything, even animals also they also get. So if we are only concentrating on these things, then there is no difference between us and animals. So we have to go about this. So we have to see what are the real problems in life. Yeah, it is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, right? So mainly there are also secondary problems. Anybody remembers? You can post in the chat. What are the secondary problems? Secondary problems. There are 3 secondary problems. You can just post in chat. Hare Krishna. You can post in chat. What are the secondary problems? Explain. I told you this a couple of times in the class. Which is it is causing from? Yes, yes, Praveen Manoj Prabhu. Yes, very nice. Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, and Adhyatmik, right? What is Adhyatmik? Adi Daivik is the problems that we get from the Devatas, right? Like it can be a flood and these things, the for famine and whatever, earthquake and these things comes as a Adi Daivik, and Adi Bhautik, which is caused by other living entities or the animals or anything, any living entity. So that is caused by Adi Bhautik. So Adi Daivik, Adi Atmik means the problems that arise from my own body and mind. So basically, we are morely concentrated on these things and we forget the real problems of life, which is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. Purushah Prakritisto hi bhunte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasadyoni Janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the 3 modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. See, the word association is very important here. So, how do we associate, right? Whom do we associate with? Because of that, we get different species. So, it is in Padma Purana. It is said, Jalaja Navalakshani. There are 9 lakh water species. Stavara Laksha Vimshati. Stavara means the mountains and hills and these the plants, right? Trees. Stavara is that is unmovable. So they are Laksha Vimshati. So 20 lakhs. And then Krimayo Rudra Sankyaha. Krimayo means the insects. They are around 11 lakhs. Pakshinam Dasha Lakshanam. So that is the birds, 10 lakhs. They are 10 lakh species there. Okay, all these are species. And then Trimshad Lakshani Pashavaha. The animals, they are around 30 lakh. Chatur Lakshani Manushaha. So the human beings, that is human species itself, there are 4 lakh species. So everything is defined in the Shastras. So many species are there as per the in the world. So here, so one more thing is the person enjoying the 3 modes. So what happens when we get a body of an animal So the animal, a bird forgets that it is a soul, right? This intelligence is not there in the animals. So only it cannot differentiate. It thinks when the soul gets the body of certain animal, it thinks that it is that animal. It starts enjoying in the three modes, right? And then it forgets that it is a spirit soul. But only in human life we have been given that intelligence, and we know that discrimination to be done, and we can take the advantage of this in human life. उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तः देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as super soul. So what is the function of a super soul or Paramatma? He is observing what the soul is engaging with, right? He is the overseer and permitter. He grants. So many times we think like, okay, why God? God is making me do bad thing. Actually, He's not making you do the bad thing. You are wishing something bad desire, but He is only granting it. Krishna is only overseeing and permitting. And then the karmas we have to suffer, whatever, because of our desire, right? So that is why this desire is so dangerous. Whatever we desire, we are going to get it. And not always Krishna permits. He permits only not all the time he permits, but especially for the devotees, he is very strict. He will only permit that is good for their spiritual development. Otherwise, he will not permit it. He will not permit something material if it is not going to uplift them in spiritual life. He is not going to permit it. So the lower species have less independence to choose what they desire. So they don't have any independence, right? They cannot desire whatever they want. So, but we have that independence, at least to desire the right thing in life. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity, and the interaction of modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of this present position. So this is a hope the Lord is giving. So one who thoroughly understands this knowledge, this philosophy, which Lord has explained in this chapter, so is like he will not take birth here again. So whatever is his present position. ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. So how the Lord can be understood? So by different, we saw different stages, right? Karma in the bhakti ladder, we saw first comes the karma yoga, and then comes the agnana yoga, and comes ashtanga yoga, and then the top is the bhakti yoga. So Lord can be understood by slowly, by one giving up the fruitive desires without working for fruitive desires, and cultivation of knowledge, like jnanis. They take many years, right? Krishna says klesho adhikaravstesham. That is like a cultivation of knowledge and slowly meditating on the Lord. And so it is all possible. But then when we have the intelligence, we can understand that bhakti yoga is the top, and you can, by devotional service, one can understand the Lord, and one can get understand the Lord. Why should we go why should we take a different path, right? But it can be understood. Krishna says that all these paths are you can understand, but it will be taking time. Anye tve vamajanantah shrutvanebhya upasate tepi chanti tarantyeva mrityushrutisparayanaha. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of the tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend path of birth and death. So here, this is Kapila Muni, who is the incarnation of the Lord, Krishna himself. He comes as a son of Kardaba Muni and Devahuti. So, and then he gives this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, actually Sankhya philosophy. he gives. So he teaches his mother about the this transcendental knowledge. So here Lord is telling, even though the persons, because she has not learned any Vedas and these things, scriptures and all, but by hearing, she is taking that knowledge. She is accepting everything, like how Krishna accepts everything. Whatever you say is right, Krishna. Because, and he also says that whatever you have said, that you are the Lord himself, and whatever, same thing confirmed by the great sages, I accepted everything as it is, right? He does not say that I accept some part of it. No, he accepts completely. So similarly, the people who takes this knowledge, and they also can transcend the path of birth and death. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram vinashyatva vinashyantam yah pashyati sapashyati. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul is ever destroyed, actually sees. So in the chapter 2, right, Krishna explains in various shlokas the properties of the soul. So the soul cannot be cut with weapon, or it cannot be burned by fire, or it cannot be wet by water, it cannot be dry by air, and so many properties we saw. So, and the soul is eternal, right? Whenever the body gets changed, but the soul remains. So the soul only takes the changes the body, just keep on changing the body based on our karma. We get a different bodies, but the soul is eternal. And so when a person is able to understand this knowledge, that he is separate, his and the soul is separate, and also he is able to see the super soul. Uh, Both are not destroyed, right? One who sees super soul accompanying the individual in all bodies, so he is able to see that soul. So uh, uh, Vidya Vinaya Sampann in chapter 5, we saw that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Swapake cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. The Pandita is someone who is able to see the dog. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini. A Brahman, dog eater, and the elephant, everyone on a same level, because he is not seeing the body, outer body, but he is able to see that soul and super soul dwelling in the body. So that stage, then the person has is above 3 modes, right? He is the one who actually sees, God says. One who sees the super soul in every living being and equal everywhere does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. So, when one is able to see the Lord everywhere, in everything, he does not degrade himself by the mind. It's just like a kid. When a parent is not there, it does all mischief, right? But then, if the child knows the parent is at home, he is very attentive, like he will not do the mischief. Similarly, when we are aware that Lord is watching all the time, he is there as Paramatma, then we will not involve ourselves in any sinful activities. That is always a reminder for us. Oh, the Lord is watching, not necessary. Oh, okay, if I do something, maybe other person may not know, but my conscience knows that, and the Lord knows it, right? So that when we get, then our mind also will not degrade. We will not degrade our mind and senses, right? So that is what is said in this shloka. Prakruteiva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashah yah pashyati tatatmanam akartaram sapashyati. One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created of material nature, and sees that the self does nothing, actually sees. So when one is able to understand that I am not the doer, right? So I am not the doer. So everything is performed by this. This is like a machine. Our body is like a machine. And just like an example, like in a, when we learn a car, right? When you're initially learning car in a driving school, what will happen? That you don't have a control over the steering, right? The instructor, he controls it, and you are just driving it. So similarly, The soul is not doing anything. Only it is the he's just seeing it, right? Sees that self does nothing. So what am I control of it? Only of the desire. So the soul can only desire. Whatever is doing is done by the actions, by the senses and the mind. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in that body. So the Lord, how the sky, right? Sky, it does not mix with water, land, anything. It does look like that, but it never mixes with anything. So, and it is all pervading. So similarly, the soul, though it is in the body, it does not mix with the blood, right? With the blood, urine, stool, whatever. So it does not mix with anything which is there in the gross body. So it stands separate. Yata prakashayat kritsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam prakashayate bharata. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. So what is the symptom of a soul? It is said that consciousness. So why do we feel the pain when somebody pinches us somewhere? We feel that pain because the consciousness is pervading all over the body, right? So it's all pervading consciousness. So the true knowledge is understand that I am not body, I am soul. So in the Vedic ages, the bodies were burnt after, like now also in few in the few castes they burn when the body is dead. uh, why it is done? Because that attachment should go. Otherwise what happens, that attachment will be there again always with the body, right? So that attachment should not be there. That is why they used to burn the body. So because they know that that body is nothing, it is made of five pancha mahabhuta, and it has to go into the mud, right? So the soul is anyways not there, it will take another body. So that is the true knowledge. One who knowingly sees the difference between the body and the owner of the body and can understand the process of liberation from this bondage also attains to the supreme goal. So we have to understand the Kshetra and Kshetragna, right? So the body and the owner of the body, the two owners, like the soul and the super soul. So that person can cross this ocean of miseries and he can be liberated from Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, all of us chant once again. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, any questions? Okay, was it understandable? Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, anybody has any question, you can either ask, you're all unmuted, or you can post in comments. Hare Krishna. No questions?
No.
No questions. Okay, great. You all understood?
Yes.
Okay, nice. Okay. So hope you all are taking the quiz. Right? All of you are taking the quiz. See, actually, after this 18 days, I mean, 18 chapter will be divided into two parts because it's very big. So we'll have part one on one day and the part next. And then I'm planning to have like you all want to see like various scriptures where Hare Krishna mantra is being told that this is for the Kali Yuga, right? We can have that session like on that and what are the people speaking about the Hare Krishna mantra and then we can one more session on like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? So I'm planning to have that. So Hare Krishna, up to date, Rhythm Prabhu, up to date quiz. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, then if all are done, then we can, there's no questions, we can close.
Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
I
Yes,
have one
Prabhu.
question.
Yeah, yes, yes.
After our death, where our soul will go?
Yeah, actually, Prabhupada says that 7 months it will not have a, I mean, a body, but then it will get a body. In 7 months, it will get a body. It
Mataji,
will
this
go.
will go to whom? This soul will go to whom?
It will go to God only. We are going to see the Lord only, right? After that, and He will
Okay.
decide based on our karmas and so the next body.
Okay, Mataji. Okay,
Hare
thank you.
Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Okay. No, we close. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
See you all
Krishna,
tomorrow.
Mataji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you.